Well, we are in this higher time frame buy program, right? From the inception of this low, this high, we made a dealing range. That's considered a buy program. But the thing about buy program is that they tend to retrace back down to discount level, to a discount area or equilibrium before it decides it wants to continue moving forward. So while it does that, we want to make sure we measure the B leg. So this whole high to low is a phantom leg, I would consider it. And we're looking for a cracking correlation, attacking old sell side liquidity pools so that once it gets to that area, we'll see if there's an SMT divergence between the other classes. And depending on what kind of reaction we get, we'll draw our fibs from this high to this hypothetical low, for example, wait for price to expand close above the 25% level, enter, and see that sucker run. Now, the thing is, because of yesterday's price action, which was FOMC, and I was away from the markets, I was out there having a life. Um, it was great to see how price ended up dipping down to London Friday's New York lunch sell side liquidity, which is what I was aiming for on Tuesday. See here that we have some demo trades put on here. I was really aiming for Tuesday to get that sell side liquidity, but price decided to hold a little longer in price, and then on Wednesday when we had NFP or FOMC, sorry, price took a dip down to the sell side levels. But look how much you had to retrace back up again. So that would have stopped me out of my initial entry. So while you have a runner, let it run. And I marked these all yellow because these lows were all referred back to on the other instruments, the other sisters, I like to call them, like the US 500, US 30. So I suspect these lows, when we come back down in the sub program, they would be easy targets for price to pierce through. And right now, here's the thing: it hasn't been any other sell side liquidity pool left, except for Asia's low. Let me mark that. But even still, let's see here. It's been pierced. It's been referenced by the algorithm. So there's a lot of sell side. That was the only sell side I could find that was relevant. Anything else would be Wednesday's PM session. So we could be in really deep trouble again, trying to see sell side in this higher time frame bullish price action. When I turned on my live stream, you most likely saw my note saying first stage SMT, really good reaction. But then when it did retest the old high, possible retracement to go up higher. I was thinking that because we had this high reaction, these old highs, pierced through it, but they weren't being referenced by the other markets, the other sisters. I really thought from this low to this high would be a nice mini sell side delivery program that can take price down to further discount. But when I saw this high again pierce through, I was no longer interested in it because whenever I see a second stage SMT, that usually tends to treat it as a retracement back down to equilibrium, and then it tends to go up in the intended direction. But now, upon studying the markets a little bit further, if you look at this high, the 830 high formed on US 100, and the 840 high formed later. It's a high and a higher high. We go down to the futures, which is more accurate. There is the high at 830, but then there's a lower high at 840. See that? So could have taken down this low to this high, close below 25%. Set your. We are now activated in a short-term sell side program. Set your stop loss to 20 handles. Okay. Price dips back up. No worries. As long as it doesn't pierce through this old high, we should be good. So look at that huge sell-off. We were in this miniature sell side delivery program that's gonna get us where? To discount pricing. What other forms of discount are there? I think I told us Wednesday's PM session lows. That's a huge draw. I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen because that's asking for way too much in my opinion. But and again, any excuse to get us down there, right? And I'm talking news, um, would be a catalyst, quote unquote catalyst, to get us down lower, right? Higher time frame. This is also part of a larger buy side program. See that low to high. If I zoom up for a moment and look at our opening range gap in the form of electronic trading hours, I mean, just look at this. Appears down below the upper quadrant, going into consequent encouragement. Wow. Like, I'm looking for this whole gap to get filled. Getting into this price action is just chasing price. Why? Because again, we have several, think of it dealing ranges from, for example, this high to this low. Why would you want to sell where it's cheap on discount? You know? You could also refer back to this buy program as well. It'll be, will still be relatively premium, okay? But there has been no sell side that can be referred back to, and no highs either. So that's something that I learned the other day. But if it was up to me, listen, how would I, using this logic, my BPR logic, you would have just kept holding up that exposure. But at the same time, that's also not really what you would call it practical, because you want to be speedy when it comes to protecting your money. When it comes to holding on to a long, like a long position that, excuse me, like a really slow but taking profits along the way, you want to move your stop loss slower. Okay, but we're still in that bias. I'm playing the move that price is still looking for that sell side liquidity pool, and there really isn't any right now, except for that low that we mentioned earlier, all the way down there. So as it's making new lows, let's just see if we can get ourselves aligned with our balanced price rate logic and see if we can get into a premium array that can help us get down low. Actually, would be interested in taking down one contract here. If we had a expansion lower, now we're retracing. The moment it comes back down here again, I'll take one out. Something I would be interested in also is taking another sell above this high up here as well. Why? Because this range from this high to this low, this dealing range, um, it's far apart. It's not tied into this. If they were stacked together, then yeah, we would have been taking an OC entry down lower. But because it's not doing that, I'll treat this as turtle soup down lower. And we have a position open here. So if it goes back up there, we'll be on the negative, right? So if it stops us out, no problem. We can just get another entry up here. We're on this phantom leg, not necessarily a sell program. Okay, so we're trading really low probabilities here, so this is kind of risky actually. That's why I do it on demo. Sorry, I had to step out for a moment there. But do we see a retracement below open float about before 10:30? When did I say? No, before 11. Yeah, we did. So that's good news. I'm gonna go ahead and close another one. Maybe move our stop loss just another quarter. See if we can get down a lower move. So where are we now? Like at 100 bucks maybe? Not like 90 bucks. But look at how much we still got to recover. Oh boy. It's about to be 10:45. So what? What can we expect 10:45? This to happen. Now this will be balanced. Stop loss to 11. actually getting ahead of ourselves. So I won't move our stop loss just yet. I'll move it until let's move it to this to medium threshold. I'll confirm it at at 10:45, so in a couple of minutes. Why does it freaking sound so weird? Alright, now we'll confirm it. Okay, now we're dealing with this new balanced price range. So we don't want to see price dip back up to these levels unless it's going to do turtle soup lower. So as of now, this is the play. I'm wondering actually what kind of higher time frame structure is in place that can maybe be a hindrance on our position. You want to look at that now? So here we could see anticipation for a higher high. So we're piercing through that now. Okay. Why? Why could this be a hindrance? Because now we have an A to B like dealing range. We expanded up higher. Now we're reversing back to that level. We set up to 75%, which is around here, which matches the same as this inverted bearish breaker block. Could not be used as discount, by the way. Aligns very well with our 75% level. You can see a reaction here. Take price up higher. Wouldn't have wanted to see that. What doesn't make sense to me is that there's no liquidity here to refer to. So if liquidity was there, you have an inefficiency you see from this level this high, but here. Okay, so I'll take off another. Oh no. I'll take off another partial there. Oh shoot, sorry. Partially close one more. So as we're creating new lower lows, we're taking a partial. Nice job. So now it looks like we're back in profit on the account. But there's still more room for this guy to keep going on lower. So we're gonna see how long this goes, And that will move it 51, 52. We'll move it another quarter. The moment this hits 11 o'clock, I am moving my stop loss down to this low, of the balanced price range, and then we'll see if we can garnish all this. The only thing, however, that's going to get in the way is the 11:30 macro that can fully retrace back up here before we continue to see more sell side delivery, or yeah, it just reverts. There's no SMT and it just wants to keep going up higher. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. Ready? I'm going to update my stop loss and then look at this here. another balanced price range. Oh, shoot. Balanced price range up here. Now we're gonna move my stop loss down to this threshold here. And that's all I'm gonna do in terms of managing the trade. I'm gonna let this thing run, see if it's gonna head down to this low, which is an old low, which we do think is just gonna pierce down. Oh, it's already referred back to. So we really have this external range liquidity that we could reach back up to. I'm not gonna call the low, right? We don't call lows here. So at any point, this can just revert and attack this buy side liquidity pool. So until that happens, we want to continue seeing price head down lower, right? Because if it's still in this higher time frame buy program, we need our anchor. We need our phantom to become an actual, this phantom leg needs to be like a solidified leg. Okay? And it can only be solidified once it hits sell side liquidity, which we won't be seeing this for a while. Now we could reduce this. Should have no problem reaching down here, so that's why I just want to set this as my ultimate target. Is that easy, low-hanging fruit objective right here. Hopefully we can get there before the 11:30 macro begins. Okay, so I'm moving that down on the quarter. So to the mean threshold of this. Because essentially we've pretty much accomplished 50% of this entire block's move, right? So as it's creating 50% in time, so this starts at 11:15. Once we reach around 11:22, which is half of 15, we'll move down our stop loss. We'll reconsider it.